What's up guys, Kaiju here again with another video, and in this video I have the Lethal Gaming Gear mouse pads, the Saturn, the Venus, and the Mercury. Fortunately, I don't have enough money to include the Jupiter, and I kind of excluded that since it's their least popular product, and the reviews are kind of negative, and it's also a very niche product, so I don't think a lot of people are going to buy it anyways. So I just went with these three because these are probably what people are going to buy or what people may be looking for in a pad. I would akin this to like picking out your starter Pokemon, right? Uh, yeah, that's how it feels like. Like if you don't know what pad to get, you can get any of these pads, and I feel like you'll find something out of them. So all these pads are 490 in length and 410 millimeters in height. It's like 10 millimeters shorter than Artisan pads, so I don't think that's much of an issue. And they're all 4 millimeters thick. So yeah, let's go with the Saturn first. So the Saturn is definitely the control pad of the bunch. Right? It's the medium control. Like the Jupiter is the mud pad control. Like only get the Jupiter if you have like a mud pad fetish or something. Like you want the slowest pad in existence. Because the Jupiter apparently is slower. I don't know if I mentioned it a while ago, but it's slower than the GSR, than the Pulsar Parabrake, and the X-Ray Pad Equate. And those pads are already pretty damn slow. And the Jupiter apparently makes the Equate feels like a fast pad. That's how slow it is. So only get it if you're into that. And it also doesn't have that good of a build quality, I think, and it gets affected by humidity. I don't know. I didn't bother buying one because I have no use for it. So the Saturn is the medium control. This is supposed to be the Artisan Zero clone, and in my opinion, it's not an Artisan Zero clone. The closest functioning pad, the closest pad to an Artisan Zero in terms of function, for me, is still the Aqua Control Plus, because what makes the Artisan Zero, or the distinct function or distinct characteristic of the Artisan Zero, is that it has very slippery and low static friction, but you have some amount of dynamic friction for additional control, right? But this pad is really more on, like, it has more static friction than it does dynamic friction though. So it's kind of like the opposite of the characteristic of the Artisan Zero. And the Aqua Control Plus has low and kind of like slippery static friction, and you got that dynamic friction, which is, what I said the Artisan Zero is. So for me, the Aqua Control Plus is still closer to the Artisan Zero, but again, take it with a grain of salt, because I haven't touched or used an Artisan Zero for like 7 months, and the Artisan Zero that I had was like the updated version. So maybe they were trying to copy the older, like hair magnet abrasive Artisan Zero, because the newer Artisan Zero isn't that much of a hair magnet anymore. It's smoother, and some people said it's a bit faster. It's like, yeah, it's a bit floaty feeling. Like the Artisan Zero really feels kind of floaty. Like I haven't seen any other pad that actually mimics that feel. It's really floaty. And yeah, this Saturn feels more like your traditional cloth pad. It's not smooth and it's not abrasive at the same time. It's kind of rough, but yeah, it's just all right. It reminds me more of the QCK Edge. That's just a touch faster, and in my opinion, the Saturn is really more of a QCK killer rather than the Zero was. Like people kept throwing around, oh, the Zero is like QCK killer, blah blah blah. Well, I mean, a lot of people kind of like, I know a lot of people who disagree with that, because the Artisan Zero is very noticeably faster than the QCK, and I've known a lot of people who got kind of like bamboozled or scammed. Like they thought, hey, I want a better QCK, I go for Zero, and it was just too fast and too hard to control for them. This one, in my opinion, is, I think, you QCK lovers out there looking for, please, please, come on, man, do yourself a favor and upgrade your QCK already and get this pad. It's a really good control pad, and I think most people would like it. It's I would even say it's like 15 to 20% slower than the Zero. It's slower than the X10 and it's slower than the Gigantus V2. It feels muddier than those, relatively muddier than those two, especially on kind of like medium weight to heavy, especially heavyweight mice. Like this is a 75-gram mouse, and I'm already using Tiger Eyes, and this still feels really controlled, and there's really that static friction. It's pretty stable. This is really stable. I feel like most people that main like Valorant or CS:GO, and are really used to those traditional kind of slow cloth pads would really love and enjoy the Artisan, the Artisan, the Lethal Gaming Gear Saturn. Yeah, unfortunately, it's not for me. It feels too muddy. Like the micro corrections is too hard for me. I end up having a hard time micro correcting because of the increased static friction. And I'm already using Tiger Eyes, mind you. So what more if it I'm like using Tiger Arc ones or core pads. But yeah, this is more of an upgrade or closer to the QCK than it is to Arsen Zero. So yeah, I'm just repeating myself. I made a more kind of like detailed video. Just check it out. Next, we got the Venus. So I don't know. Am I getting? Yeah, we got the Venus over here. This is the Hayate Otsu clone, and this is the only pad out there that actually comes close to mimicking the Hayate Otsu, or being. This is the only Hayate Otsu clone out there, to be honest. I'm not sure if the video will capture it, but if you can see the pattern, the fishbone wavy pattern, it's similar to the Hayate Otsu. The Hayate Otsu just has like a bigger kind of like zigzaggy pattern, and the Hayate Otsu's surface feels kind of like silkier and beadier. Like it's kind of bigger. The beads kind of feel bigger in the Hayate Otsu. Like I didn't like the surface of the Hayate Otsu. This is again like all of these pads are noticeably slower than their artisan counterparts. Okay, and yeah, this is definitely slower than the Hayate Otsu. Like I don't need a side by side comparison to say that this is slower than the Hayate Otsu, especially using again like medium to heavy mice with two big mouse feet. I noticed in these pads that the weight of the mouse and the design of the mouse feet really affect it. Like drast I don't want to say drastically, but significantly or noticeably changes the feel of the pad. There's like this maybe 10 to 15% difference, right? If I'm using the Model O, yeah, it's fast-ish, but it becomes slower when I use this heavier mouse. And for two big mouse feet and versus four small mouse feet. Even using the Viper Mini, which is a light mouse already, but since it has two big mouse feet, there's an additional friction on there. Right? And the fact that it's not squishier. Like if I'm going like that, it's not as squishy as the Hayate Otsu soft. Maybe this is uh, I've never had the mid artisan. I really just go with soft. And from other reviewers say this is between the soft and the mid. So yeah. But weirdly enough, the mouse feel like it sinks in more on this pad. Like I said it on the video, on my actual review video. So yeah, a hardware unplug compared this to the Aqua Control Plus. It's slightly slower than the Aqua Control Plus, and I kind of agree. I have a Aqua Control Plus, but I won't pull it out anymore. And not because it's actually slower, but only because it has that touch of heaviness on it. Because of the mouse feet or the mouse kind of squishing on the pad, even though it's not squishy. I mean, this is really a weird pad. I had a hard time describing the Hayate Otsu, and I'm having a hard time describing this. But this pad, okay. So yeah, I'll just say that this pad is really the mid of the two. Like if you don't know which mouse pad you get, or you play like a variety of games, you play Valorant, you play Apex, you play CS:GO, you play I don't know like Quake, Titanfall, or Call of Duty. Like all this is the pad for you. This is an all around pad. I don't consider it too fast for Valorant. Some may do, especially those coming from the office mouse pads or again the QCKs. They might actually find it too fast, but I think you can get used to it. But yeah, if that's what you're used to and that's what you want, you're better off with the Saturn. But if you want a more all-around pad, not too fast for attack FPS, not too slow or muddy for like fast-paced games, this is for you. I know a guy who like used to main the Hayate Otsu, and I think he started maining this. Like he plays Warzone. Like shout out to Easy Inc. If I remember, I'll link his description down below. Although he speaks in Tagalog, guys, so you may not understand him, but yeah. Huh. This is my favorite. Again, as what I said with the Hayate also back then, this is a really good target switching pad. But overall, yeah, I can track well with this, but it's not my favorite for tracking because there is that kind of squishy heaviness to it. I don't mean slow, but there's that, like that feeling of your mouse wants to like lay in bed when it's like a rainy morning and you don't want to go wake up for class or wake up for your job and go to work. That's kind of how it feels. Like there's like that, it wants to like just sleep, or there's that squishiness or that added slowness or heaviness to it. Like I don't know, it's just a weird thing to say, but it's this a hard pad to describe because it's just very unique. So yeah, like with my video, I don't know how else to describe this pad. But yeah, if you don't know which pad to get and you play a variety of games, go with a Venus. Okay. Now we have the Mercury, the watered down here. Like there's just so many clones. So this has the best build quality. This feels like it has the best build quality among the three pads. It has the best stitching. It laid down the flat the most, like readily out of the box. It kind of has it's the stickiest on the desk because it's really just flat. It's like seeping through on your desk. It's really gripping it. Um, yeah, but so yeah, this is a Heian clone. It's less abrasive than the Heian, and it's a lot slower than the Heian. Um, it lost, but the thing is, what do you call this? Uh, this is like a watered down Heian. This is like the more boring Heian. I got to try a Heian and I really enjoyed it. And then when I got this pad, I was really kind of disappointed just because of just how the Heian may be like problematic for other people because it's like notoriously abrasive, and some people find it too fast. And Lethal Gaming tried to fix that by making it less abrasive and a bit slower. And while they did a good job, and while they did produce a very very good pad, it became boring. Like the funness, the Heianness, the exoticness of the Heian, the wildness of the Heian just disappeared. It's like it got married. Like you got the young, alpha male bachelor, whatever, and then got married. It became boring. You got the Heian, the Tyler Durden, that Chad and all that, and then you got Edward Norton with his pad. It's kind of like how I would describe it. But again, I don't want to like crap on this pad and make it seem like they're bad pad. It's a bad pad. It's definitely a good pad. Like if you're testing out the waters of trying to get a faster pad, yeah, this, or you want to try a Heian but can't afford one, I think this is the best, or my most suggested or most recommended Heian clone that you can try. Although, in my opinion, the Odin Infinity is closer to the Heian, but it's a bit faster than the Heian, but it still doesn't have that kind of particle feeling or feedback feeling of the Heian on your mouse feet. Because with the Heian, it feels like I'm on a grid, like Battleship, kind of like that. I can kind of pinpoint where I'm at because of I can feel the graininess of the surface. I can kind of, oh, my mouse is here, my mouse is there, or my brain will compute or calculate, oh, move, you gotta move it a bit like this, like that. It's like I'm always up on my toes. I can calculate things, like my brain's calibrating all the time and all that. That's what makes the Heian fun, and it just gone here. So yeah. But again, overall, this isn't a bad pad. It's like the boring brother of the Heian, or it's like the boring clone, the dull clone of the Heian. But yeah, among all of the three, this has again like the best or most premium kind of quality because of the stitching. It sticks more and everything. It lays down flat more. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention like for all three pads, this they have pretty decent stitching. They're almost flush. They're almost flat. I don't know if you guys can see it, but yeah, they're almost flat to the surface of the pad. I don't know how I'm going to show it to you guys. Like my lighting is all messed up, but yeah, the stitching is pretty good. Rubber backing is pretty good. Uh, I went over more to on that on the actual videos, and just a quick mention that again the Saturn, you may end up getting a bad copy of the Saturn. Make sure to watch out for the bad things like very wavy like edges, like fraying edges already. And among all of them, the Saturn has the worst stitching because it's the thickest and it's the one that's raised, and it's the one kind of like phrased the most. Mine already has a bit of fraying, and it kind of, if you roll it up and put it back in the box and you remove it, it kind of like has waves on the edge. And what do you call this? Uh, it didn't lay down flat as fast as the other pads. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't want to keep repeating or make this video any longer. I know I probably just rambled on this video. So yeah, again, if you're coming from a QCK, you main CS:GO or Valorant, and you want the feeling of a QCK, but I guess better or more quality, then go for the Saturn. If you want to be able to play games like, or if you want some control but some speed at the same time, or you want some speed but some control, like you switch from like Apex to Valorant, or even then you kind of want uh, a pad that's a bit fast but not too muddy, and you want one pad that you can play with different games. You get the Venus. This is my favorite pad of the bunch. Uh, it's really fun. I really enjoy this pad. It's very unique and everything. It kind of fixed the issues that the Hayate also had, in my opinion. Um, like the things I didn't like the Hayate Otsu, it kind of got fixed here. So I really like this. And then if you're playing, you're really just hard. Uh, if you really just want a Heian clone, or you want a Heian that's not as fast, that's not as abrasive, you try hard, or you're really just maining Apex, then yeah, you can get this pad, the Mercury. And all of the pads get affected by all of the pads get affected by the weight and the design of the mouse feet. Like 75-gram mouse and above, and especially big mouse feet, are is gonna significantly cause the mouse to have more friction, feel more slower than lighter mice with for small mouse feet. Because even a Viper Mini, which is lighter, actually lighter than this, but it has four mouse feet, it has two big mouse feet, feels more controlled than this. I don't know. I don't know why, but it is what it is. Oh yeah, just a comparison of the like I forgot. Like when I first got the Venus and the Mercury, I was like going crazy. I couldn't tell the difference. Like that's how like kind of they're pretty damn close. But that was only because I was using mouse feet that didn't pick up that much feedback or the surface, right? But and that was a very light mouse. If you're using a very light mouse, like around 60 grams or less than 70 grams, it's going to be hard to tell the difference between these two. But after a while, I used a heavier mouse and, mouse feet that pick up the surface. I finally did manage to tell the difference. Really, like the swiping around, you're not going to tell the difference that much. It's not that different. This is, um, and then the main difference is like in the static friction, the movement. I can definitely feel some more resistance, making these movements compared to the to the Mercury. And after a while, yeah, I really did. This feels a lot firmer than this. I mean, not a lot, but this feels firmer than this. Like my mouse sinks in more on this mouse than this, and this feels more like freely flowing, like going around like that. So I think this is really definitely better for tracking than this pad. While this pad is fast, it mimics the Hayate Otsu and the Aqua Control Plus in the sense that it's kind of linear. You know, it doesn't feel like freely flowing like you're floating in water. It feels like you're going up, down. You're going up, down, right, left, diagonal, like that. It's like linear. It feels like that while it's being fast. I mentioned that in my Hayate also video as well. Like it's wow. It's like how similar this is to the Hayate Otsu. But I really think this is actually a better Hayate Otsu. Well, this one, yeah, you can easily free flow. It's like all just it's a free for all. It's like you're floating around and all of that. This thing kind of feels like like that. I don't know. I hope you're understanding my explanation and that you can kind of pick up what I'm trying to say with my what do you call this, my mouse movement or whatever. Like this thing is like built for like fast flicks or like target switching. Flick and then move around, flick and then adjust a bit, and like that. Something like that. This one feels more like you're flowing, like you're tracking, you're smoothing, and all that. I generally perform better on tracking scenarios and smoothing scenarios on this pad than this pad. I perform better on Valorant on this pad than this pad. And yeah, track, but that's pretty much it. I think the difference isn't that drastic. Yeah, if you just want the best among the three, okay. If you just want the best for tracking among the three, then you get this. If you want target switching or fast flicks, that where you can still track, you get this. Then if you want some control, some stability, you get the Saturn. Anyways, that's pretty much it. I'm losing my voice. Like, comment, sub. If you got any questions, just comment them down below. Peace.